After being stranded on Earth for 15 years, Prince Adam reclaims the Sword of Power and returns to his home planet of Eternia to save his people from the tyrannical rule of Skeletor. That's Masters of the Universe, coming in at a 73% on the tomato meter, and it's directed by Travis Knight, and it tells the tale of, yes, young Prince Adam coming back to Eternia after some time on Earth to find out who he is and what his legacy is all about. Now, if you are a fan of this franchise, then there's going to be a lot for you to sink your teeth into here. Jared Leto as Skeletor is going to be somebody that people are going to be going, yeah, he was really good in this movie. I can't believe that he actually worked. There's going to be a lot of dialogue in here and kind of jokes that captures the essence of what Skeletor is. He-Man may be a little bit questionable, but I found myself at times just like with a big smile on my face going, this, yeah, does feel like Masters of the Universe. Could we have done without all of the stuff on Earth in the first act? Absolutely. I don't know why producers are just they're fixated on this thing that we well, you got to make it grounded. You got to make it on Earth, and it's just like, no, you don't have to do that. But the cast is Nicholas Galitzine as He-Man. Camila Mendes as Teela is also really good. But the standout for me was Idris Elba as Duncan, Man-at-Arms. Really cool. Ram Man was also a favorite of mine. And it was cool in the way that they brought these characters out. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember you. You're Ram Man. Well, that's not the real character's name. It's just that because when he was younger, he saw these people and we're like, okay, well, I got to pick up names for them. And that's how everybody got their name, right? And it was like, there was a real interesting logic being applied to how these characters worked. The visuals, as you can see, are stunning. It does have some pacing problems, though. It's a bit long. It comes in at 2 hours and 20 minutes. Oy. And it's one of those movies that has some post-credit scenes, multiple post-credit scenes. And each one is just kind of like, okay, you got to stick around for the next one, right? Because it tees up what's going to happen next. And it's right up my alley, because if I had a poster of, like, that's one of the posters I need on my wall is a She-Ra poster. Whoops, did I just spoil it? Well, hey, you know what? It's not really that big of a spoiler. It's just that, of course, it's going to eventually go in that direction because that's part of this universe. And they did a good job of establishing who He-Man is and who Skeletor is and like what the battle's all sort of about. And do cut some corners with some of the mythos a bit? Yeah, I'd say they changed some things up, but it's nothing too major here. I don't think it's going to be things that'll be like, oh, wow, the series really wasn't like that. Man-at-Arms is just, I didn't think I would like the direction they took the character after the halfway point, but they redeemed himself. His story is a redemption story. And the action, once he's in his actual He-Man form, is cool. And it's like, yeah, no, he's strong, right? He can stop things, he can move things, he picks up things, and they really they lean into that, and it pays off as a fan of the franchise. So before we get into my score here, let's go back to the tomato meter and see what some of the people are saying about Masters of the Universe and try to get a read on this. The reveal. It works so hard to win over both diehard fans and skeptical outsiders with a combination of self-aware humor, an old-fashioned blockbuster spectacle that it's impossible not to admire, both the effort and its modest but undeniably charming results. Modest and undeniably charming. Well, that's just because of the cast. And there are some people in here that I do have problems with. I'm a big fan of Evil-Lyn. And I was really hoping that she got more to do, because you saw advertisements of her like doing press tours for this. It's like, she's really evil. And it's like, okay, I'm waiting for that scene where she's going to do something really evil. And it's like, it's not really there. Actually, she's probably one of the most hammed up parts of the movie that I found like, I still like her. I still like her as a character. And I know she's a great actress. Alison Brie is fantastic. Watch together if you haven't seen that. But uh, yeah. LA Times, Leto's grumbling Brit-infected baritone is an unrecognizable concoction of trilled R's and plummy vowels, and the best performance he's done in years. It's the best performance he's done in years. Wow, they really think that Skeletor was the best performance he's done in years? Hmm. Hmm. Hmm, it's possible. I mean, come on. So, what did the fans say? Well, Eddie says, lighthearted, action packed with some after school lessons, everything He Man should be. Yeah, and it's got that kind of like pick yourself up after you fall down kind of mentality. Um, and it's worked in a way that's organic. It doesn't feel like, okay, now we're going to stop and have a little inspirational speech kind of stuff, right? It's not like that. Amazing action movie, Angel says, takes you back in time while still bringing the Masters of the Universe to this era. Yeah, and it does. I think it totally does. Um, some other notable critics, Jeremy Johns. Most importantly, it had these moments of heart and life lessons that I actually liked. Yeah. And it doesn't like drag you over the head. It doesn't make it feel conceited or anything. But another critic who didn't like it from the Daily Telegraph, the new He-Man film, Masters of the Universe, might be utterly awful, but in its defense, at least it seems to know it. No, I can't agree with that. This is one of the things where, yes, they could have totally fumbled the ball with this movie. And you will be, if you are a hater before this and you want to go into this saying, well, okay, I just need to find something about this that really sucks, and then I can just say that this movie is terrible. You can't do that with this movie because it's not terrible. It's not a train wreck that people will want you to believe if they're a hater. It's just it's got some pacing problems. As I said, it's a bit long. I think they could have condensed some of the stuff to make it feel a little bit tighter, get rid of a lot of the stuff on Earth. I felt like you could have just truncated that into a quick little opening blurb, which this movie has. And it's got a lot of nods and Easter eggs to that older Dolph Lundgren film, where it's kind of like, I like all the ideas in here, man. This is really cool. And it's got some laughs, especially towards the end. It's got that humor mixed in it that works very well. Some other fans here, a surprisingly faithful and a genuinely fun take on Masters of the Universe. The visuals are massive. Skeletor steals every scene. Yeah, I know people are going to be liking Skeletor. And the film balances fantasy spectacle with just enough heart. Felt like an 80s toy box exploded in modern times. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Let's see if we can find somebody who did not like it so much. The development of the character was pathetic, unoriginal, and painful to watch. Now, see, that reads like somebody who was just on their phone most of the time, not paying attention. The movie followed the classic outline where it presents a weak and pathetic main character that comes into his own. The supporting cast was much more interesting. That sounds like you're hating, and I know that there were pre-haters that were saying, oh, he's not big enough, he's not strong enough. Once he was doing his He-Man stuff, I thought that it fit the film. I had no issues with that. So where do I land on this movie? Let's go over to my score sheet here and start filling in some numbers for Masters of the Universe. Acting, directing, story out of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography and score out as a possible 1 point. Acting, it should be serviceable, straight down the middle here. But the collective efforts between Idris Elba and Jared Leto here, I think I have to give it a 1.5, but for like every one that's good, there's also ones that are kind of like, meh. Yeah, Teela was also really good. She was fantastic. And yes, there was a little bit of some wooden acting by Nicholas Galitzine in the beginning. That it's just, I felt like it was more of a script issue than it was an actor issue. Because some of the lines that were being asked to be delivered were just, ugh, and that comes down to the directing and story. The directing is great. The technical work on this was good. You could tell that Travis Knight liked and loves this universe. I just felt like the story, as muddled as it was, it didn't fumble its way around. It traversed itself away around some really clunky dialogue and some pacing that just kind of like worn it down. And it's a movie that I would totally watch again. And that shows in the watchability factor, is that if you liked the trailers. If you like this property, you're going to go see it once. And then it's one of those movies where I like the way that it felt towards the end. Like when in the third act, it totally feels like the Masters of the Universe movie that we've always wanted to see on the big screen. Kind of like the way that the Transformers movie that Travis Knight did felt like in the beginning when we saw it all on Cybertron. It's like, no, that's He-Man. That's like cool. And that final shot of him on Battle Cat with the armor, that just hits home. The cinematography is gorgeous, and the score, Brian May does some guitar work here. It was like okay, cool. I was like, yeah. I'm on board with this for Masters of the Universe, 7 out of 10. Tell me what you thought about it in the comments below, and we will talk about it. You're watching Mirror Domains.